standardized 20-page document that we submit to SUNY by the end of this month, and then we'll commence the actual audit process with Bonadio, which generally concludes sometime in the early January, February time period of next calendar year. So at this point, we haven't modified the numbers. There's still a couple of major numbers that we got to finalize over the next couple of weeks. At the December, being you don't have a November at this point scheduled meeting, we'll give you the final unaudited results from our perspective for last year. Meanwhile, this year, we're 6 weeks in. The big drivers really fall enrollment. We gave you a preliminary assessment of that. So we really haven't changed this year's forecast for this month. Again, by December, we'll see how payroll and some of the major cost side settles, as well as final enrollment numbers for the fall. So by December, we'll have a better update, probably a mid-year forecast for the current year. So that's those are the two forecasts in your budget. And what I would like to indicate what isn't in your packet, which given that we don't have a scheduled November Finance Committee or board meeting, there are several items that are currently pending today and tomorrow that the college would like to submit directly to the board. This includes, so you're very hopefully familiar with the fact that we're doing a major renovation to the Decker building for nurse expansion. We have final interviews for the construction. We have final interviews with the construction manager and with the architect. And those won't be completed until mid-afternoon tomorrow. So we have a committee that reviews that, a pretty rigorous rating process. And because these are professional services, it doesn't require low bid, but it requires a prudent person determining both costs as well as the scope of services and expertise that they bring. So college would like to present both a recommendation for construction manager and architect with a not exceed amount for each. And we'd anticipate getting those as separate items probably. You probably get the board packet ahead of that time, but by the end of tomorrow, we'll get you both of those items. In addition, today we're having the college and ESPA, this is another one of our labor groups. We're having our second mediation session with ESPA today. There could be a chance that ESPA may settle. There's always a chance. So in the event that they do settle, the college would like to present again to the board for Thursday's consideration a tentative agreement to the extent that there is one. Again, we don't want to wait a couple months to get that approved by the board, have a ratification vote, and there might be some incentive to settle prior to the holiday season and trying to get some money in their pockets. So, so that may occur. And again, we'll submit that sometime tomorrow. By the time with the FAA, we didn't settle until about 10 o'clock at night. So who knows how long it will take. And if it doesn't, we don't get settlement, we still have a third mediation session minimally that the parties have to proceed with. And last but not least, the Guild, which settled first about, I don't know, 4 or 5 months ago, they have an opportunity if they would like. The FAA agreement is not unique. The ESPA had, prior to this last major agreement, they had a 5-year agreement between the college and them. And then we had a 1-year extension to kind of get them back on the cycle. But the Guild has currently a 3-year agreement, and the college has offered them the opportunity to extend it 1 more year to kind of mirror the FA's 4-year agreement. So they have, at least during this cycle, the opportunity to consider that, talk to their membership about it. And if they decide they'd like to proceed, then that also would be on the agenda. We'd submit that to the board for consideration. And if
that one wouldn't necessarily have to be done though right away, right? Because if that waited till December, would have.
It doesn't, but I just said to them, to the extent that you want it timely, it would. It's not very complicated for them. They just got to decide. And so if that all happens, okay, if ESPA agrees and Guild agrees or disagrees, then the last group that always is last are the management confidential administrative exempt group, which is about 20 employees. And we generally propose a similar economic package as the other 3. We primarily line it up with the Guild because they're kind of the non-instructional professional group that probably aligns best with the college. But we normally just piggyback health insurance premium share and get a salary and wage adjustment that's in alignment with basically what the board has provided as framework. So I just wanted you to be aware that those might be supplemental items. Just want to check with the committee, make sure you're comfortable with that. We certainly can discuss any of those matters either publicly or in executive session. There's nothing really secret about it. So those are the other things we would ask for consideration. Goes right to the board. The rest of the items are pretty standard informational reports in your packet, and that concludes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
Any questions for Michael? 3.3 facilities update. Dave.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You should have my report. It'll be brief. Work is nearing completion on the replacement of the library roof. However, we will be looking at a change order. Initially, we were going to repair the masonry work up on top, but we're having difficulty getting a masonry contractor on site. So we will probably aluminum side the penthouses, and we'll get that change order to this committee, subcommittee, and then on to the FNF and to the board as soon as we can. But that being said, we should still have a completion of that project within the next 3 weeks. The project to replace the Student Center West Gymnasium roof has been completed, with the exception of restoration of the grass where they had stored their material. And remember, that's the same contractor that bid the business building roof, and we hope to have that project under contract next June. As Michael said, we're in the final stages of recommending an architect and construction manager for the Decker nursing renovation work. We intend in the very near future to install new banners along the loop road and in all our parking lots. The banners that were up were getting pretty old and worn. We've taken them all down. We've got new ones coming, and they'll all be on the loop road and in our parking lots. And then ultimately we'll put additional banners up on some of the pedestrian walk paths around the campus as well. One thing I did want to mention is the dedication of the Battisti pergola. And I don't think that's changed. It's still October 20th. Is that right, Diane? Right. At 3 p.m. Right, correct. So we're looking forward to that. We've started work on two of the pavilions. The first is nearing completion. We just have to install the roof. The second, we're putting the structural components together right now. And we expect inspection of both of those within the next week or two. So hopefully within the next week and a half or 2 weeks at the most, we'll have two of those three pavilions completed. The paving contract and sidewalk contract for 21-22 has been completed very successfully, I might add. We continue to move ahead with design work for the restroom renovation, both Old Science and Student Services. That design work is approximately 80% complete. We are also evaluating some potential locations for a track and field facility on campus. So that architectural work is underway. We've finally received construction documents and front end specs for the library and business HVAC projects. So we're reviewing those right now and expect to go to bid within the next couple of weeks for both of those, as we now have the construction documents. And lastly, our on-site energy manager, Libin Babu, who you met at your last meeting, continues with his development or our development of a campus-wide energy management plan, which we spoke to at the last meeting. Will focus on identifying potential energy saving projects across campus. So with that, I would be more than happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? For Dave?
I don't have any at this time.
I just wanted to say, I am almost amazed every day someone will compliment the culinary school. I know there's going to be a Mercy House activity there, and people have told me they've had more tickets sold because people want to go to that venue. So it's really a compliment
Yeah,
to
well,
the college and to all.
the compliment really now should go to Penny and Michael Stamets and his staff, because I mean, they're running it and the numbers are increasing in the programs down there. And I know they have events down there all the time. So it's really a good thing for the community and for the college.
Yeah, that was a dream.
It's certainly sometimes a nightmare, but mostly a nightmare for Michael. But
I would just,
potential moving part.
yeah, just so you know, when I was county executive, I would go by there and I'd find these employees that worked other places smoking on that part. And I remember as a child going there and how excited I was to have a library there. So to put it to that, just, you know, it's just amazing. So thank you.
What's the date for the holiday party?
8th.
December 8th. That'll be our second one there. So
Okay, I want to make sure.
sure you have that on your calendar, because holiday time brings a lot of conflicts.
Hey, see if there's any other questions, comments, but move to be adjourned. Yeah.
Second. Second.
Or adjourned.